We're going to start off. So what happens here, the Torah, to be honest with you, I've always found a little bit of coming twice. So I always found that this little thing that happens here, I've never really gotten the full, because I don't understand. I'm very bad with the geography in general, and certainly when the Torah brings it up, it gets very complicated. But what happens after Avram finally parts away from Lot, the Torah goes into the war of the kings. There's the 5 kings versus the 4 kings. So to kind of put the fast forward button on this, because we're not really going to get into the actual war of the kings, but there are 5 kings that take over the 4 kings. And throughout this battle, the 5 kings take over the city of Sodom. And not only do they take over the city of Sodom, but they capture a very important person in Sodom, and that being Lot. Lot, who has settled in Sodom. The 5 kings take over the 4 kings, including the city of Sodom, and they capture Lot. And Lot is held captive. And the verse talks about a person. The verse says, "Vayavo hapalit." What is the palit? So it translates here the fugitive. A fugitive comes and tells Abram, the Ivri, that his brother has been captured, essentially. And one of the first times where the Torah refers to Avram as Avram ha-Ivri, the Ivri. There's another word, a way that Avram is described. And the commentaries want to know, why does Avram get this name, the Ivri? Anybody heard of the word Ivri? Ivri, right? Another famous time a person says the word Ivri is Yonah, the prophet Yonah, when he's running away from God, and he finds himself on the boat, and all of a sudden the storm comes, and everybody's trying to figure out what's with the storm. And finally, Yonah says, Ivri Anochi. Everybody wants to know, whose God are you worshiping? So Yonah says, Ivri Anochi. I am an Ivri. Ivri Anochi. Ves Hashem Elokei Hashemayim ani yareh. I am an Ivri, and Hashem, the God of the heavens, I fear. So Ivri was first referred to by Avram ha-Ivri. And the question is, what's with this name? What does Ivri mean? You know, Yehudi, right? It's those of you who were able to attend my son's bris, right? Yehuda, Yehudi, Yehudim, right? On Purim we say, La Yehudim Haisa Ora, to the Jewish people there was light. So Yehudim comes from the tribe Yehuda, right? Both from a sense of Yehuda meaning gratitude, and also, you know, after the dispersion, we assume that most of the Jewish people stayed within the tribe of Yehuda. But obviously by this time, by Avraham, there was no Yehuda yet. So we weren't referred to as the Yehudim. Hebrews, I don't know where that originates from, when we started being called the Hebrews. I don't know the source of that and if it's biblical. I would just put that, I should make a note of that. I'm just thinking that. I don't know where Hebrews come from. But Ivri, the Ivrim, we'll find that even, I think, in the Pesach Seder, where we feel the word Ivri. So what's with this word Ivri? So the Medrash says, what's with this word Ivri? The Medrash, the Talmud, brings down the verse over here. It says, Vayagiv Avram Ivri. Why is he called the Ivri? What is the word Iver, Avar? What does it mean? So it refers to Aver with an ayin, which means the other side. What does that have to do with Abraham? He says, so there's one of the authors of the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda, happens to be Yehuda, coincidence, I'm not sure. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, Kol ha'olam kulo me'aver echad. The entire world was ideologically on one side, V'hu me'aver echad, and Avram was on the other side. Everybody in the world majority of people, besides for Avram's disciples, so essentially the entire world worshipped idols, and only Abraham recognized the Creator, and he alone was on one side. That is why it's called Avram Ivri. This fugitive came, is a whole fascinating story about the fugitive for a different time of who was this person who came and told Avram what was going on. But I was the Ivri. He's the one guy who's on the other side. The whole world is doing this, worshiping idols, the sun, the stars, and the one guy is on the other side. Avraham Ha'ivri. And it's something to really kind of think about in a way, because it takes a tremendous amount of strength, conviction. It takes a amount of focus. We live certainly in a time where we live around people and ideologies that something that we don't ascribe to. No matter where you are, no matter what you believe in, there are plenty of people who oppose everything that you might believe. And it's fascinating for Abraham what he would have to do to be so certain, which alone doesn't really help. Like the pressures of society are so obviously strong to where even somebody who knows what's right, even for somebody who knows what's correct, the pressure of society can make any person bend, especially if you're all alone. So Avram had this conviction to be able to block out. I would assume if Avram lived in 2021, I would imagine Avram would not be on Twitter, even though I would want him to. He wouldn't be on. We always talk about Avram on social media because clearly that's what's on my mind. But I doubt he'd be on Twitter. He wouldn't. It'd be solely focused on what I have to do in my life. He wouldn't look at the news. He wouldn't watch what's going on. He'd probably want to know what's going on, but Avram was so focused and so driven on what do I have to do? Think for myself. The whole world's out there saying things. I am Avram Ivri. I'm going to stay on this side. Everybody else stay on the other side. But it was even harder than that for Abraham. It wasn't just ignore the outside. It wasn't just don't listen to what they're doing. You keep doing what you're doing. There's a medrash elsewhere that says that Abraham had even bigger problems. Because not only did Abraham have to ignore the noise of other ideologies, other ways of living, they tell us that the people around Abraham would give him serious problems, and they would call him names. And one of the names that is brought down here, they used to call Abraham, it says Amru, they used to say, Abraham ze pirda akara hu eino moled. He is a barren donkey that won't have any children. They make fun of Abraham right now is already older in life. He must be probably around 80 years old. And they used to make fun of him. This is Abraham, is Sarah. He's a barren donkey. He has no kids. And used to essentially verbally spit on him. And Abraham had to endure this abuse on a constant basis. And I heard an amazing question being asked one time. We really try to understand what's going on here. Can you imagine you're walking down Bardstown Road, right? When I originally heard this parable, I was told it in Times Square. Bardstown Road is not exactly Times Square, but imagine you're walking down a busy street, right? Right? Times Square is a lot more people, right? You walk down a street, and there's this guy in the corner, and he has a sign. And the sign says something, I don't know, the kangaroos are coming. I'm not trying to make fun of any mental health, but the guy has a sign, something really out of this world. So what do? I would imagine most of us would kind of just walk by, right? Keep it moving. You're going to stop, you're going to talk to him, you're going to try and keep it moving. the last thing we're going to do, assuming we're just normal people, we're not going to make fun of him. We're going to stop making fun of him in the street. That's something that really, maybe one or two really not nice people, but the whole world, everybody's going to stop making fun of this guy in the corner. This crazy person, let him talk. Avram Ivri. He's the only guy. The entire world is worshiping idols. Everybody. They're all doing it. The community, the city, it's an idol worshiping city. And you got this one dude, this one Meshugana, who's talking about this one God, monotheism, the creator of the world. He's watching over us. He's here. He knows our thoughts. There's reward. There's fun. He's taking all this crazy stuff. I don't know. So you know what I would have thought if I lived at the time? I would have just have ignored it. We lost David. Let's see if he comes back. But I would have thought I would have just ignored it. I would have kept it moving. Okay. So Avram, the crazy guy, is talking. No, that's not what they did. That's not what they did. They said, this Avram, he's a barren donkey. They started making fun of him. Why did they make fun of him? Why do they feel the need to make fun of him? So the explanation I heard, which is really so powerful to understand people and to understand ourselves. They could not ignore Abraham. Because what Abraham was preaching, and what Abraham was communicating was truth. Hang on one second. Sorry. David's back twice again. Okay. No worries, David. If you can hear me, David? Oh, who knows? Yeah. So the question is, so why did they make fun of him? Why? Keep it moving. So an understanding I heard is as follows. They cannot ignore him. They were not able to ignore Abraham. Why not? Because what Abraham was preaching, what they were hearing from Abraham was the truth. The truth is that idol worshiping is not real. The truth is there is a creator of the world. The truth is that he's watching over us. And he was saying the truth. And for a human being who was created yashar, God created every human being straight. That is its essence. It's yashar, it's straight. Haokim asa es adam yashar. Hashem made human beings straight and correct. So when a person hears the truth pierces. It pierces through everything. You have two choices if you hear the truth. You could embrace it or you can fight it. But there's no option to ignore it. Because that's not how we humans were created. So Avram's there. He's the only guy. He's this Meshuggah on the corner. You know why we could ignore the guy who was talking about the kangaroos? Because it's sheker, it's false, it's not true. So I can ignore it. It makes no difference to my life. But if I see a sign, if I see somebody telling me something truthful, I have to do it. Either I take it in and I embrace it and I try to put it into my life and change, or I dismiss it and I have to fight it and I have to push back because I can't just let it slide. So amazing. It's really so powerful. Here we talk about Avram. And really, this is something I heard a while ago. And it's interesting because it's in the context of sometimes throughout education and teaching and dealing with people, there's always a concern. Well, what if I say something that somebody won't like, right? You're in business. Somebody, you have to be able to correct somebody. What if I say something? What if somebody reacts to me in a way that they're upset with me? So you have to know, but often they're upset with you because what you're communicating is true. Right? If I tell you something, like if I make fun of somebody in a way which is really irrelevant, or if I point out a challenge or a problem with somebody, they don't really have it. Really, this person's really one of the most nicest, calmest people in the world. I say, you have an anger problem. So chances are it's not really going to bother this person too much, because he's like, no, I really don't have an anger problem. So it doesn't really bother me too much. But if you tell somebody with an anger problem, you should know you really should get a hold of this. You have an anger issue that's really, you start talking to somebody about their anger issue. So either the person will like say, you know what, you're right. I hear what you're saying and I have to fix it, or they're just gonna get angry at you because that's their choice. And throughout our lives, what's important for us, I think how we can emulate, this understanding of the human being is when in our lives, when we hear things, when people share things with us, we have to, sometimes we can do our own, almost our own litmus test based upon our reactions. What gets us? What irks us? What bothers us? Who bothers us? Why do I react? I react so angry when I hear this, or I act so combative when somebody says something to me. Why do I react that way? So there could be various reasons, but we have to realize that sometimes what it is when somebody communicates a truth to us and it comes into us. Do we embrace it or do we fight it? And it's so awesome because the understanding of why this is so, which I think this too, if we really were able to tap into this and appreciate this, of why this is, that the understanding that a human being, their essence, an essence of everybody here is their soul. Every human being is made up of their body and their soul. And the verse says, how do we get this soul? That God breathed into our noses a piece of him. So you think about it, everybody's soul that you have right now, its source is God himself. So our natural soul's being is to be godly-like. And one of the key traits of God is that of truth. There is no false, there's no sheker, there's no lie, there's nothing deceitful about God and his ways and his actions. And that is part of our essence and our being. And therefore, whenever we have a disdain for things that are false and not real, and we have a certain appreciation of things that are truthful, because that is essentially how the human was created. Now we have our bodies that house our soul. And unfortunately, we live in a world where, and I haven't been around for that many years, but it's a lot of lies in this world. It's hard to know what is truthful anywhere. Anything you see, what is the truth? It is a world that just runs on lies. Nobody knows. Clickbait, everything. The world, the system has been built for lies. The better the lie, the greater the lie, the more enticing the lie, the more it's rewarded. So we live in a world that has glorified lies. And it's so hard, really, to be able to value truth. And for us as human beings, we have to realize that I'm saying it's hard, but in a way, and it could be challenging, but we have to realize that our nature, if we have a moment sometimes to pause and to dig deep on really what do I feel inside. And when you go throughout life, there's something to ask yourself, what's the right thing? What's the right thing for me to do here? Right? Sometimes I wonder, how often a person pauses when they have to make a decision, right? What's motivating a person to do something, right? We have so many agendas. There's so many things flying in our face. What makes the most money? What saves us the most money? What are people going to say? What's gonna happen? There's so many things pulling us when we try to make a decision. And I think something that could be so awesome is, well, what's right? What's true? And sometimes if we really able to have a moment to kind of block out the noise, for the moment, forget, let's say money's not a factor. Let's say fame's not a factor. Let's say reputation's not a factor. Just put everything off to the side for a second. We'll come back to it later. But put everything off to the side. Ask, what's the truthful, honest, right thing to do if these things weren't a factor? And I think we could almost be pleasantly surprised to find a natural compass inside of us that pulls us towards the right and pulls us towards the truth. And the more we come in touch with whatever that is inside of us, well, it's us, it's our soul. There's a misnomer out there, right? We think after a person dies, so their body gets buried, and then like our souls go up to heaven. Right? Where the soul goes up to heaven, right? What's the soul? I don't know. After I get in the ground, then the soul's going to go up. Well, the Torah and the tradition tells us that's not exactly accurate. Do you know what goes up to heaven? You go up to heaven. You are your soul. What you're feeling right now, what's inside of you. It's not your body. That is your soul. The feelings when you feel happy, when you feel sad, when you have moments of inspiration, when you feel all these feelings, that is you, that is your soul. It is the same thing. And all these feelings that we have, they're a little bit, they're numb. They're a little bit, not numb, they're toned down because they're in this physical glove. But what happens when we leave this world, you imagine you have a glove and you take something out of the oven, right? So the glove, it insulates you. So you're feeling a hot pan, but it's, take that glove off. Good luck. But like your glove, it's hot. You feel. But the understanding when the world to come, when we leave this world and our glove is off and our hand goes up, so all the feelings that we feel in this world are amplified. That's why when we feel good, when we do something, when we accomplish, when we do a good deed, when we do a mitzvah, when we're there, right? I know at least for Howard, we go to Israel, you have moments where you feel it. There's something you feel, I don't know, I'm feeling something, right? It doesn't have to be in Israel, it could be anywhere. A person feels connected, they go, they pray, they get connected a moment, Hanukkah. There are times where I don't know, I feel something. What am I feeling? Right? And that feeling is the soul feeling the goodness of spirituality. And that feeling is so awesome and so great, but that feeling that the soul feels when it leaves this world and it's no longer in the body and it's just there, a bare soul, and then it goes and receives the pleasure in the world to come. That's why the pleasure is even so much greater in the world to come. How do we get here? Oh, the truth. So when we tap into ourselves, our soul is here. It's here in the now. It's inside of us. And our soul is true and our soul is honest. And the more we allow ourselves to become aware of it, the more we focus on it, we can be pleasantly surprised to tap into the power that it could help us throughout our entire lives. Any thoughts or questions? What time?
Yeah, when you talk about like feeling like angry and feeling hurt, like when people ask me if I'm related to David Kaplan, that sends me over the edge. No, that's it's funny because I'm sure I've talked about this at one point or another, but it's it kind of reminds you that you're pulled towards doing what's right, and whether that's Hashem or what have you. And that's, I mean, it's interesting because I don't know if it's kind of that Judaic upbringing, and it's just like, clearly non-Jewish families are all about, hey, do the right thing, do the right thing. But, you talked about when we were in Israel, and, you kind of just feel those certain things and those certain pulls, and you're just, it is interesting that you talk about feeling that the glove effect, and it's muted a little bit, it's numbed a little bit, but that was interesting as far as how you shared what happens after. So that's first time I probably heard it shared like that.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. That's just, there's obviously a lot of with that understanding, there's obviously a lot more ramifications to understand and to appreciate what our world's like, and really what the next world's like, and the whys. There's a everybody has to run. I don't want to hold anybody here, but on this point, and again, there will be no pain. If somebody has to run, I promise it's all good. I get it. Please. If it was a class, they'd say, okay, we close the books. If we're in person, I just close it and we end and we talk on the side. So this is like a side conversation. But on your point, Howard, I think one of the questions asked is why, like, if the world we're here, God wants us to reward us. So then, just like, don't make me go through this world, don't put me through the challenges and the struggles. Just like, give me the reward. Let's just like cut to the chase. Like, why you, like, God's like, okay, I want to reward you. God creates this world. Why did God create the world? So one of the understandings is that God is an ultimate giver. He's there, and God wants to give. I want to give. I want to give. I want to give kindness. God is one of his essences. Chesed is kindness. So Olam Chesed Yibane. He built the world. The world is built on kindness. Look around the world. The whole world is one big kindness machine. The trees, oxygen, rain, condensation, animals, ecosystems, everything gives to everything. Everything around us is one big, massive kindness machine, right? Go into a zoo, go try to understand how you talk. I'm listening, like, you have situations where why do we need this bug? Who cares about this bug? Or you have situations where you have animals that are introduced to different ecosystems and they ruin everything because they kill off the prey, and you need the prey to kill the whole world has a certain, Lion King, circle of life, but everything gives to everything. So guys, I want to make kindness. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create things. We lost David. Oh, well, sorry, David, but we created this human being, and God, I want to give to this human being. I want this human being to have and to receive the most amazing reward, pleasure ever, which is going to be in the world to come. But in order for me to give him that reward in the world to come, he's got to go through the gauntlet of this world. So why put me through the gauntlet? One of the understandings based upon this glove parable is, you ever imagine, Howard, this could be, I'm not sure, everybody's different. Imagine one day I took you, I blindfolded you, right? Blindfolded you, and I walked, and I unfolded your blindfold, and you're at the. Oh, okay, David's back. Okay, 1 second. Good. I want David to hear this parable. I changed it a little bit. I heard the parable differently once upon a time, but let's see where David comes back. He just knocked. The doorbell rang. I have to get the door. Zoom's doorbell. It rang. Let's see if he comes back. So I say, I blindfold you. Oh, he's here. Okay, David's back. I don't see him. I should see his name. Let's see. So I blindfold you, and I take you, and I walk. Come with me, Howard. Come with me. Finally, get somewhere. Okay, we stand here. Okay, and I uncover your eyes, and I put you right in the middle of the end, right at the end of the masters, and it's the green, and they're about to give David, I'm explaining. I don't know where we lost you, David. But one of the questions is, why did God put me through this world for the reward to the world to come? Cut to the chase. Just give me my reward. Leave me alone, right? Don't put me through this. So I kidnapped Howard. I blindfolded him. I put you and I unfolded. You're at the end of the master. You're at the ceremony, and you're looking around. You're like, who's getting? I wanted to watch it. I was so upset about Isaac. I was in the middle watching the Masters, and he took me away. Why are you taking me here? What's going on here? And and you look around, who won? Who's getting the green jacket? And they come over to Howard and they put the jacket on you. Hey, Howard, here's your green jacket. At least like bad person, you should have done Chuck instead. But but most people, I would be like so embarrassed. Like everybody's clapping at me. This is so awkward. Why you give me this green jacket? I don't deserve this green jacket. What did I do? Okay, I played golf a little bit too much, right? I'm sorry, right? I know I want to win the green jacket, but I didn't do anything. It'd be the most embarrassing moment. It'd be you're there. Hey, clapping. Howard. It would be brutal. The pain it would be so. You would dig a hole right there and then. You probably try to laugh it off. You make a joke. But you want to dig a hole right there. I don't know what, Rabbi Zach, I'm never talking to you ever again. I can't believe you did this to me. Great shtick, but this is so embarrassing. So God says, if you think that's embarrassing, if you think your soul feels shame for having to get the green jacket when you don't deserve it, imagine how your soul would feel when it's no longer in this glove and it feels every feeling in the world, and it gets up and God says, look at all this reward. And I say, God, well, what did I do? I didn't do anything to win this reward. Why are you giving this to me? I didn't do anything. The feeling of shame and pain that we would experience would be overwhelming. You just give me this to me. Don't deserve this. I don't deserve this reward. But if you imagine a golfer who put in hours and days and weeks and months and years from when he was 4 years old, practicing endless with setbacks and setbacks and setbacks. And finally, after facing all the adversity, all the challenges and all the struggles and all the bunkers and all the bunkers and the bunkers on top of the bunkers and getting it sunk in the water and all the setbacks. And finally, he gets to wear the green jacket. Boom! What did I just drop? He gets to wear the green jacket. Imagine the joy. Having a win one. Amazing. The happiness that person feels. So we can imagine when we go through this world and we have setbacks and we have struggles and we have challenges. King Solomon says, Sheva Yipol Tzaddik, a righteous person will fall 7 times, says King Solomon. He doesn't say he can fall, he will fall. A righteous person will fall 7 times. Talmud says it's not just 7, it's even more. The way to growth is through challenges, facing the adversity. But at the end of our lives, when we battled and we fought and we overcame and we set back, and then finally, we, God willing, reach up there and God says, look at the reward. Look what you did. Look what you deserve. Look what you accomplished. The feeling of joy, and that is an understanding of why God designed the world and our lives the way that he did. Because he understood the ultimate. How do I truly give the pleasure? How do I truly give joy to the human being? If I allow them to go through this challenge and tailor make each challenge for them, where at the end of the day, they can reap the reward for all that they've done, then I've reached my goal, says God, of creating a world of kindness. So that's what. All right, everybody, wonderful. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying, but I want to tell you the truth, I enjoy it more than you. Just wanted to let you know that I'm quite selfish in that. So again, next week I will send out. I'm going to send an email every Monday to everybody, and I hope I don't bombard everybody's inbox with emails. And again, always feel free to spread the word.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Zach.
Rabbi.
Good evening. Take care. Bye, Lisa.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Brian. Bye, Chuck.